Ryan Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 630.
WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL. This is something new, huh? Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham's off today. Tori Clark's in the studio. What is this? Where did you pick this one up from?
I know, but Mike's got a big smile on his face.
I don't know. He likes it for some
that.
reason.
Disco is alive and well in our studio today.
It's 1974. All
That's what it is. It's a tribute to your birthday.
I guess it may
born on
be.
this day in 1974.
All right, so tons of talk about the debts, and we will get to more of your phone calls coming up, and we'll talk to Doug Schoen about that as well. He joins us on the phone. Doug is a pollster, author of the book Mad as Hell. Good morning, Doug.
Brian, good morning. Brian, good morning, and Tori.
Good morning.
Good
Well
to have
done.
you, Doug.
You passed the test.
I had a hint. Two of the same.
Okay, sounds good. Now you did some polling on the Arab Spring. It's something we've forgotten about in the last couple of months because we've been so consumed by other things, domestic issues. But the Arab Spring, obviously very vital to Americans, and you did some polling on it that's quite concerning with Egyptians. What are they saying, and what did you learn from your poll?
The Arab Spring has become the Arab summer of discontent. Bottom line, the Muslim Brotherhood is in a strong position to take power in Egypt. There is widespread dissatisfaction with the United States and an embrace of Saudi Arabia and Iran, and it's hard to see how any of that is good news for us.
Hey, Doug, it's Tori. So we know the Muslim Brotherhood is the oldest, most established, and the strongest political force in Egypt. Give us a little bit on the demographics of the Muslim Brotherhood. Who are they? What are they like?
Well, they're drawing across the board, Tori, and what is really discouraging was I looked to see if this was some sort of small town rural phenomenon or just aging, what we would call here aging white males. And it runs across the society, and what it is two things. It is obviously a Muslim fundamentalist organization, but it's also a protest movement that's drawing across the board because Egyptians of all stripes are just dissatisfied with the way the revolution that occurred in Tahrir Square has played out.
I look at what happened in Lebanon with Hezbollah and how they gained control over there, and because they became a political party by having jobs for people that lived in their community, making sure that the trash was picked up. You saw those pictures on Drudge the other day of what Egypt looked like with all the trash. Is that something that the Muslim Brotherhood uses to their advantage because they can say, hey, look, we can get you jobs and we can make sure all of your social issues are, kept, we keep picking up the trash, we make sure everything is running smoothly?
Brian, absolutely. And the difference between the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and Hezbollah in Lebanon is Hezbollah in Lebanon is concentrated in the southernmost part of the country, and it is a coalition government of which they have an effective veto. In Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood is now the strongest political party and is poised to win a plurality. I could say even outside chance they could win a majority, but that's a long shot.
And what did you learn about? I'm sorry, Brian. What did you? It's his birthday. We should let him just talk all the time. What about the impacts on Israel? What are you hearing from the Muslim Brotherhood about Israel?
2% of Egyptians are favorable to Israel. 90% are hostile to Israel. 90% more believe Israel has played a non-constructive role in political change in Egypt. And 70% will either amend or abrogate the Camp David Accords that led to the peace between Egypt and Israel. So this is bad news.
Can I turn you in the direction of more domestic politics
Absolutely.
right now?
Please,
I know you want to get in on this.
I do.
What is going on with the American people as they watch what happens in Washington D.C.? What conclusions are they coming to about the process?
Well, I'm going to make a bad joke, and please forgive me. It is a joke. In a certain sense, what they're sort of saying is what the Egyptian people are saying when they turn to the Muslim Brotherhood. What they're saying is literally a plague on all your houses.
Yep.
We think all of you guys and girls have let us down. And there's people cite the polls that say that the Democrats are doing better than the Republicans, and that may be true relatively, but absolutely everybody gets negative marks. And the president, as I think you've seen, Brian, is trending downward precipitously.
So and that reason is because, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Doug, and this is a very important point. The American people at this moment look at the economy, they decide that they don't like what they see, and they largely, many of them feel, the majority of them feel, that it's the president's responsibility. It's his economy.
Yeah, I think what they say is that it's everybody's responsibility. The buck does stop with Obama, and even if they think his plan is more reasonable and more rational than the Republicans, they look at him and there's one critical piece missing, Brian, and that's leadership. And they say, where has the president been? Why don't we have a deal? And why can't he get these two sides together? And what's happened? And that's the question.
And Doug, let me just ask you, your sense, because there's no way to poll this until it happens, if the Republicans in the House are unable to pass a bill, how does that narrative and how does that opinion out there across America change?
Yeah, the most likely results now, I see two likely results, Brian. I'll be real quick. Republicans don't pass a bill, Democrats don't pass a bill, and we come very close to or go over it August 2nd, and we get some sort of last gasp, stopgap, temporary extension of the debt ceiling.
How will the public react to that?
Badly.
Yeah.
Or there's another alternative, which nobody's really talked about much yet, but I think we're going to hear more about it as we approach Tuesday, which is 14th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And the president saying, look, I'm going to pay these bills. And that is my right and responsibility under the 14th Amendment to honor the debts of the United States. And Supreme Court et al. Tell me I can't if, in fact, you believe I can.
Well, he'll pay paying the bills is not the problem. It's, taking on more debt, which would be the issue, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, given the full range of obligations we have, it is paying the bills and the future bills and saying, doesn't matter what you guys do, these bills are going to get paid even if we have to print more money.
Right. That would be the problem. Then you would have a constitutional crisis on your hands.
We could well have it next week, is what I'm saying.
Hey, Doug, has anybody recently broken out how the supporters, those who elected the Tea Party members of Congress, how they're feeling about their Tea Party members right now?
They're feeling pretty good about what the Tea Party members are saying and doing. The problem is the Republican Party is divided,
right.
The Democratic Party is divided, and everybody agrees, regardless, Tory, of ideology, that the entire system, process, and approach of both sides has just plain failed to address the problem.
All right, Doug. Great to have you on. We appreciate your time.
Brian and Tori, thank you for having me.
Good to have you, Doug.
Doug Schoen, pollster, author, is mad as hell here. The 14th Amendment brought up, which is interesting. We talked a little bit about that with Mark Levin yesterday. Now, Peter Morici has always said that, they can print more money, and technically that is not raising the debt ceiling. You can print more money. It's actually
devalues the dollar.
It does devalue the dollar, but technically I think the president can do that. That would be interesting to see what would happen. But let's just say that the president does just say, we're going to raise the debt ceiling without you because it's my obligation on the 14th Amendment to make sure that all the bills are paid. There probably would be impeachment, I would think. In the House.
There certainly would be calls for it.
No, there would be impeachment in the House, or calls for it, and they might vote on it, but it's not going to be confirmed by the Senate.
Right.
So when we have a situation where they can have Bill Clinton on our hands, and then it becomes a hot,
This whole topic
mess.
just becomes more uplifting and cheerful all the time.
Yes, oh God.